Welcome back, everyone. We're here with another MGLA recap video. This time we got team founder, custom card fanatic, and Ichiban Kasuga incarnate, Spencer Travis with me. Spencer, how you doing?
Well, I gotta say, I'm feeling pretty fantastic, and I don't just mean the Marvel Rivals character I wish I was good at, if you know what I'm saying, folks, for you gamers in the audience out there.
Hell yeah.
But no, I mean, obviously this is coming out later than most of the other guys at Nats, who obviously deserve far more accolades than me because they got much greater placements than me, even though it was ordained by fate. I wasn't getting that far, apparently. But no, I fucking loved Nats. I'm so happy my dudes got so far. Editor, I'm requesting right here you put in the Smiling Friends bit where Mr. Boss is like, I love my boys.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is pretty late, so hopefully we get the good bits in.
Yeah.
But at least we are still on track that this is before national or before Worlds, so we're sticking to the guns of pumping it out.
I mean, the Worlds is going to take forever for whatever retrospectives we have from, our future champion card on our team. We're getting it, folks. I'm calling it here, and this is going to age very poorly if that doesn't happen. And I really hope I can shift into the reality where it is the case. But
no, it's happening. Yeah. It's happening.
Oh, it's happening. We're playing Corey Nelson 1 by next year, or Travis TNT Tangeman 1 by next year.
Corey Nelson 1 is just Recovery Girl 2. Just unerrated.
Okay, never mind. Corey's off the team if he pulls that shit.
But sort of like, yeah, we got big plans for Worlds. But circling back to the, just like how we usually do these, it's obviously it's going to be a recap of your experience at Nats, and sort of the topic to focus in on with you specifically was going to be how you organize the teams, how you put it, Spartan bonding for a lot of these events.
To I guess kind of give the history of it was like this would be like Rochester 2023, I want to say. That was our very first event back when like the core, I guess you want to call them team members, pre MGLA, when we were King's Core, we went up there together, and we were all joking because we had to be sharing beds for saving on hotel rooms. Like, no, this is like how Spartan soldiers had to like share barracks with each other, to strengthen their bonds. So anytime we've been talking about like intimacy with each other, it's always been Spartan bonding. Yeah, like, because it was. Sorry, yeah.
I was gonna say, wasn't it 2022 or? Because I think that was the Rochester that was at the church, like that really big like basketball church, I guess. You know what I mean?
You know what? Yeah. I think I was off by a year. But yeah, this would be like Heroes Clash era, I want to say, or like Heroes Clash was in the middle of spoiler season. Yeah, that was the first event, but yeah. So regarding the Nats experience and also like the bonding experience and everything, I've kind of roughly been the organizer, at least for the recent events. I'm not going to Worlds, and there are other ones that I haven't been at. Karaoke is like the number one thing that I always try and fit in because it's a really good like social experience for even the people who don't like singing. It's like something fun for everybody because we all like blowing off steam. We all like kind of performing for one another and doing stupid shit like that. Obviously, we have people on the team who are actually really good at singing. I don't count myself among one of them, but like it's about the spirit of the thing.
Yeah. You bring 100% spirit, and I've only got to go to one of these, and that was the one in Atlanta. But yeah, these are the karaoke events on Sunday are usually some of the best parts of the weekend. Just screaming our heads off to whatever songs we want to be screaming at.
Like my philosophy with it is, obviously we want all of our guys to do as well as possible, but mathematically speaking and probability wise, like that's not guaranteed by any regard. I'm super glad we got 6 guys in top 16. That's like the craziest result I could never have anticipated when we started out this team, but I'm so glad we're there. But like, if people don't do that well, having like a really big thing after the event that we can all look forward to and go. We went to round 1 down in Grapevine. It's a really awesome location. Like they've got all the like major fighting games there, like a bunch of Tekken machines and rhythm games and shit like that. We basically booked out like 3 hours there, bowling lanes and everything, and obviously karaoke was like a big feature for that. Having like a big cool party that everybody was able to like blow off steam with and have something to enjoy, even if you did like total crap at the event. You know, obviously we do our best to comfort guys by having like a nice material thing to look after the party, the main event is over. I think is a really good way to kind of, you know, soothe everybody over.
Yeah, yeah, and honestly, like that is. There's a lot of things I missed about not going to Nats, but like for sure one of them is karaoke and just being able to sing with everybody. Like obviously you could do it on Discord, but like it's not the same. You got to be in the room.
Of course not. I gotta say also, Keenan Meadows. So by like happenstance, like Keenan Meadows, Tim Keefe. I don't think Kevin Broberg was there. I could have been wrong. But like a couple of the other guys who were at the event, you know, our big top players were there. And I don't know how, but Justin like went out and grabbed him and like pulled him in. This dude, pitch fucking perfect. I'm on a boat by the Lonely Island by that guy. I think I've recorded it. I don't know if I'll be able to get footage to put into this video. We'd probably also have to ask Keenan if he's okay with us putting it in.
Yeah.
But like, holy shit, that dude, like, he wasn't even looking at the screen for most of it. He was just belting it out. It was a magical fucking moment.
Yeah.
And then I was going and getting a refill of drinks at the like main counter outside of the karaoke room. I see him. I was like, that was amazing, dude. And he's just like, yeah, thanks. Like he threw out his voice and sounded like fucking Batman with strep throat.
Holy shit. Yeah. I mean, for anyone that's done karaoke, like, yeah, your voice is going to be torn. Never mind just like normal tournament, end of tournament weekend, like your voice is shot.
Sure.
Like add karaoke onto it and it's like, it's completely fucked. Like you are not speaking.
And that's another reason it's a good thing. It's at the end of the event where we don't need to do anything else after.
Yep. Sunday night is for karaoke. Another thing that I don't know if it's just our group, but I don't know if Keenan falls into this group, but it seems like a lot of like old head UVS players were also involved in theater in some way. And like that kind of carries over with this karaoke where there's a lot of like performance when we're singing these songs.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because UFS/UVS, obviously it has a pretty long-standing history. This game's been around since like 06. The very first I'd ever heard of it actually was Beckett's unofficial Yu-Gi-Oh collector or unofficial magazine. I don't know if you've ever read any of them, but like they had these nice glossy covers and like kind of off-brand but kind of cool art of like whatever the set character was, like a, you know, Uriah. This is like GX era because I know you know Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. The magazine sounds familiar, but I don't.
Yeah. And at the end of the magazine, they had mentioned this new game, Universal Fighting System, and they had their first world champion. This was Matt Coles, and he just gotten his character card. And they'd had their second worlds where actually Matt Coles was defeated by another guy playing Matt Coles. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like a game where the main prize is literally becoming part of the history. And like UVS, obviously there's like a pretty big backlog at this point of champion cards to come out, but there's this long-standing history where like expression is literally at the heart of this game because obviously every character has 3 symbols, barring recent sets, obviously.
We're coming back to it.
Yeah. There's so many permutations of every deck, so many different play styles that are represented at any given time. And obviously every champion is like characterizing themselves quite literally when they do their art, when they say like, hey, can you portray me as this? You know, Mitch, who's part of the team, was like, yeah, this is the kind of things that I had in mind when I submitted my character art stuff. Obviously he didn't say too much for, you know, UVS's lawyers' sakes for NDAs and all that, but just, you know, kind of his ideas going into it and all that. So I think that kind of plays in with the theater thing you were saying, where like this is a very expressive group of players. Not to say that any other game doesn't have players who like put their own spin on things, but in a way, this game has this weird, you know, cracks in the ice, spider webbing outwards thing where everybody can kind of take their own direction with things.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, if anyone's familiar with my name from events, like, yeah, I'm usually on the evil symbol. Like, I am desperately trying to make that shit work every time I go to an event. Like, Yeah.
Every time a new product comes out and there's no evil symbol, we see you tweaking in the previews. It would be funny if it wasn't so sad.
Dude, it's a Dungeons and Dragons world. Where are the evil cards, you know? But those are complaints for a different day.
Oh, of course.
So, at least like we did kind of fast forward to the end of the weekend with the event.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can come back to yap about karaoke, but I do want to like get back a little bit to the main event, or, you know, like start of the weekend.
Right.
And so, you know, going into this event, you're starting on Friday, right? That's day one of Swiss.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so,
yeah,
just like kind of talk me through, you know, like how your first day happened.
Yeah. So to give a bit of a preamble, I'd been like flipping between decks. I mean, constantly in the weeks between, because you came in for our big testing weekend when we were over with David Thomas, who did not play in the event. He was helping out Rochester with their shop. And I believe he was the previous video prior to me right now, right?
Not the previous one of this, but he is earlier in it for sure.
Right. So I'd been on Godzilla, and then I'd played more games with him after I had decided the deck, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. Corey like proselytized me about his Recovery Girl list, and I'd known his Recovery Girl list for ages. I mean, I've said this in Twitch chats, I've said this all over the place. I hate playtesting with Corey because he plays these hard control decks that are just prison. He calls it the Thunderdome and everything. But I love when an event happens and I get to see it happen to other people. It's like watering, a tree over years and years, but like the tree just punches you in the balls every time you water. But then like somebody else breaks into your yard to try and steal in your house and starts like beating the shit out of them. And it's like, yeah, this is what I suffered for, you know?
I can't think of a better analogy for watching Corey succeed. You go get him, Corey. Punch him in the nuts.
I've been like trying to Recover Girl, and I don't have Corey's brain. I don't have the synapses that have been folded in over the months. So I was like, no, not this. Yeah. I went through like Hanji, Sasha 2, like all this stuff. None of it was clicking. I finally played Bertolt because I had not played Bertolt 2 like at all. I obviously knew, everybody knows Bertolt is like the problem character. He's whenever there's a really strong character, it's not necessarily like best in the room, but everybody has to contend with them. I always call them the you must be this tall to ride character. Mm-hmm. Like they're the room temperature of the meta. You have to be able to contend with them or you can't play.
Yeah.
I played Bertolt and it gave me like good memories for me, bad memories for everybody else of playing Toguro at the beginning of the year, where it's like I'm a death character who just keeps swinging, keeps drawing. And I was like, all right, that's my guy. That's it. So I'm sleeved up. I go in, all of us like shake hands. We break. We go to our tables. My first game of the day is against the guy playing Vendetta 2. And you will not fucking believe my luck on this. I say luck. This dude, I swear to you, runs every single foundation destruction effect in standard. Like final words, all smiles, the Toga promo that's like if they use the second ability on a card in a turn, destroy that foundation. Mm-hmm. Chomp, he's like Moneta, so he's debuilding you one every turn. Like the number one thing, I cannot transform because I cannot build enough to get there. I also wasn't like drawing a lot of foundations, but over the course of the turns, I'm like, okay, I tried not attacking because that's giving him not an enhanced step to be able to do some of these effects to stop me. Mm-hmm. But like, it doesn't matter because then on the crackback, everything's popping. So it's like the most pathetic Bertolt game ever. If you show, like anybody who doesn't know the meta, that game, they'd be like, why the hell is Bertolt a problem again? Second game, I had managed, I want to say, it is getting fuzzy now. I want to say I'd gotten decently close, but I couldn't clinch it because I still couldn't transform, or I'd transformed but didn't manage to kill him on that turn because I failed to draw the last attack. Mm-hmm. I lose that one 0-2, so whatever. I called it a fluke because what are the fucking odds, you know? Well, obviously, no shade to the other guy's skill in any regard.
I wanted to like at least say to this part for tournaments, you have early on in the tournament, you have no control over what exactly it is you're going to be facing, especially round one. right? You could face literally anything at the beginning of the tournament. And, unfortunately for your Death Bird deck, which relied heavily on flipping, you played against probably the only Mineta in the room, I think. He wasn't on the chart at like a high number.
There is, I would be shocked if there was a second Mineta. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, to that guy's credit, to that player's credit, playing Mineta to bully Berts that are trying to transform and win the game that way makes a lot of sense. But
okay, here's the thing. I spoke with a guy briefly after, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of this guy. Is he good?" Like, he'd never played against Bertolt 2 prior to that, and he didn't make his deck with Bertolt 2 in mind.
Well, he got your ass, so they knew something.
And he definitely wasn't fucking with me or anything when he said it. Like, the tone of his voice, he meant it very earnestly, but it was very funny that I roll against the one guy in the room who's countered, like, laser focused, like, sniper barrel on my heart. And he's like, "Oh shit, did that kill you?"
Oh, that guy does that? That's crazy. Anyway, destroy that foundation.
Yeah. So my second round, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of blanking on what character I was up against.
Don't you worry. I got the receipts. But as I'm pulling that up, you had a sort of unique experience in this tournament with the
Yes. So long story short, the second round doesn't really matter. What matters is happened after, because I'd started shuffling my stuff back up, and I noticed when I was putting my deck back down that some of the cards on top were like a little a little pringly. I was like, shit. So, I'm like shuffling it up and like looking it over. And it's looking like specifically my Yu Yu Hakusho rares and ultra rares are like starting to curl and shit. So like because Death Bertolt, so there's like Botan's coaching, Trace Eyes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I go over to the head judge and I'm like, "Hey, I'm thinking that some of my cards might be curling. Do you mind like looking this over to make sure it's legal or not?" So he goes ahead, does the same thing, and he's looking at it. He's like, "Yeah, so it is looking like it's specifically those cards, and they're like key to the strategy too. It's not like some random foundation. It's like fucking whatever." So the other thing too is because it's like 12, maybe 14 cards that are curling, you can't really proxy that many because they only have like so many for those purposes. So, he was nice at it, and he appreciated that I was forthcoming with it, because my main thing was, and again, without to drudge up, obviously old community drama, like I take integrity very seriously, whether it's the team or just the community period. Like, at the end of the day, this is a game, but at the same time, it's a sportsmanship thing where it's like, you really shouldn't be screwing people over just to get wins. Like, the prizes are cool and all, but what's the point of playing if everybody's just cutting out the rules of the game in order to get a result? So
yeah, 100%.
If I couldn't play because I was screwed over by my cards, whatever. The last thing I want is the team to have an integrity problem because of me. So he looked it over. He was like, "We can try intersleeving, but I can't guarantee that's going to work for you." And I just kind of like put my hands up. He also brought it to Sean. Sean looked it over. He said about the same thing. I put my hands up. I was like, I think I'm okay just starting from this event. I will say I don't have the greatest amount of confidence in my own skills in the game. Not even trying to be like self-deprecating or anything. I very much appreciate that I just get to be a part of this team and I get to play test with people who are some of the best in the game. It kind of cushions the blow to know that like when I lose in play testing, it's like, oh, at least I'm making these guys stronger,
Yeah.
But like,
it was a very honorable thing to do, and as you were saying with it is a game, but we got to follow the rules, right? And so, it makes sense to drop with that worry and that sort of unacceptable is kind of the word I'm looking for. Card stock, I guess.
I mean, I think it's a little bit on me because I was having these cards sit out unsleeved, like open air exposed when it's cold as shit in Massachusetts. So it warping isn't like the craziest thing in the world.
Mm.
Hopefully it'll fix itself, and I'm not going to have that issue in the future. But
Yeah.
you know, my fucking lesson learned in that regard.
Mm.
Um,
And I
but
did.
yeah,
I was gonna say I did. The deck you played against round 2 looked to be an evil Devil Jin deck. If that sounds familiar.
yes, yeah, I think that's the case. I can't say I remember too much about the actual match itself. I'm sorry to whoever played in that regard, but obviously the events that came after kind of superseded the events of the game itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I, you know, I took my cards. I was like, hey, it's all right. You know, there's side events and everything. And to their credit, they also gave me five prize wall tickets for like being honest and forthcoming with it, which I really appreciated.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't know about that part.
Yeah. So I met up with Danny, who was not in the event itself, and we kind of just hung out for it. We were basically like huddled around his phone, like watching whoever was on stream for it to kind of entertain ourselves between rounds and like waiting on side events. And that was just a really cool thing where obviously watching on stream, you know, I get distracted. I'm just like, when I'm at home, I mean, during events, I'm like, yeah, whatever, you know, what's on YouTube, what's my fucking social media feed or whatever. But like when it's a hall that's like you know, loud with people playing games and everything, and when it's like, you know, my buddy that I've traveled all these miles to get there with, we're literally like, you know, breaking our spines hunched over his phone and just being like, oh my god, he had the block, you know, shit like that. Like,
yeah.
It's a special like magnified moment to it.
And
so that was me for most of the main event there.
I mean, you guys did. We mentioned it in Danny's video and have some footage in there of the
yes,
you know, the silly stuff going on in the background of the stream.
Yeah, that was because I specifically said to Danny, like they said at the beginning of the day, like don't do anything in front of the camera, it's inappropriate, and like obviously, yeah, we didn't want to do anything like that. But then my thought goes to what is the smallest but most noticeable thing we can do to fuck with the stream, and so we decided like, oh, let's just switch seats over and over again. Yeah, that was pretty magical there. So yeah, I guess fast forwarding a bit because not too much to report. We did have obviously during main event, like everybody's coming over, which is like, how'd it go, Chief? You know, like thumbs up, thumbs down. We were getting like, oh, or like, oh, that sucks, you know. We finally get to when Yu Yu Hakusho Spotlight happened for me.
Was that Friday or?
I want to say so.
Because I don't remember specifically when the side events were because you know, I'm at home for it. So
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Yu Yu Hakusho was Friday, and then yeah, I think it was MHA and AOT were Friday, and then no, I don't. Sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about. Somebody's gonna correct me. Whatever.
Yeah. But so you enter the
Yu Hakusho.
Yeah, you enter the Spotlight event for Yu Yu.
Because I was really excited for that, like as a format. Granted, it was like last minute that I'd even know that I had a deck for it. I think it was Wub on our team, Calvin, maybe known to some people, had I think Elder Toguro deck he was considering bringing, but then Justin was like, "Oh, I've got Suzaku. I can't play the event because I'm still in main event. Like you can take it." So Yu Yu Hakusho Spotlight, I think is a really cool format. Like MHA Spotlight. It's neat, but it really does just feel like playing the standard that I'd been playing for like 2 years, and a standard that I have a lot of cards that I'm not excited to play against again, like fucking, you know, Texas Smash, Oswey 1, Jiro. Yu Yu Hakusho is like a really cool mixture of two eras because it's like older designs and the more modern designs, but like they still work together in a cool way. Because a lot of like Team Urameshi's cards synergize with each other in a decent regard. Now I was playing Suzaku, who's majority older cards, but like supplemented really well with the evil cards from Dark Tournament.
Yeah. And just to, in case anyone doesn't want to pull it up on the side, Suzaku is a character stacker, right? That's like his gimmick.
Yes. So Suzaku's entire thing, he's 7 hand size, 20 health, air evil order. The first ability on him is if you block with the Suzaku character, you build it and he gains 3 health, which really cool for keeping you in the game and also like giving value to keeping characters in your hand. There's also a neat synergy with it that I'll go into in a second, with one of his other cards, Crimson Sparrow. So second ability is your charge attack gets plus X speed or plus X damage equal to your characters in stage. So that just kind of like scales up on you.
Start to do like an Ojiro impression.
I think it's gauge card actually. Sorry, not charge or gauge.
Okay. But you will be landing these gauge moves and guaranteeing that you get your extra characters.
Yeah. Also, for anybody who's not familiar with retro, gauge is it's an enhanced keyword that is basically a card will say a gauge and a rating. So like gauge 2, gauge 4. You call gauge at that number, and then if you deal at least that much damage, you get to search out a character with the same name as your starting character from discard or deck, and then put it into your stage. So Suzaku, he wants to build as many characters as possible. Final ability, big thing that I think is really cool with him. First enhance, discard 3 attached characters. This attack gets plus 7 speed and plus 7 damage. Because Suzaku, in context, he's able to turn into like 7 clones of himself. So 7 is kind of like a big number for him.
Yeah.
Just this really cool, big, splashy ability that in retro, there's better stackers mostly using his kit. Wen is obviously the biggest answer for that. But like in this format where he's the only guy in the room who's doing it, basically, super cool way of like ending out games.
Yeah.
Other big thing for him, he has like a really cool cohesive kit of stacking and everything. Prism Storm of Torment, which is one of the coolest lines of text in the game.
Yeah.
A 7 difficulty, 7 high, 7 damage with Deadlock Stun 7, Gauge 7. If this is the 7th card you have attempted to play this turn, it passes and gets 7 speed. No check necessary.
Yeah, that is one of the first retro cards I think I read when I started playing the game.
Yes.
And like it reads so crazy. You're like, huh? It just passes? And it's for how much? How fast?
It's so cool.
Yeah.
So like every game, I was intent on getting a Prism Storm of Torment to finish out the game. Because when you do it with the ideal scenario, it's 1T1 for 14, which is like crazy. Outside of like Deku 6 right now, or the Elder Trigger combo list or anything, you're not seeing stats like that on cards. So it's a really cool, like, you can only do it in this environment thing. In addition, Prism Storm of Torment also has enhance. Add all character cards that share a name with your starting character from your discard pile to your staging area. So Suzaku, first enhance, dump all my characters. Next enhance, bring them all back for the next attack.
I did not know that part of Prison Storm because usually I'm just looking at it for anything else. So that is like the very powerful flavor text of that card.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The other cool thing when I was mentioning Crimson Sparrow before, so Crimson Sparrow has a response. It's like when you deal damage while it's in card pool, you get to ready. A foundation has been ready. Whatever. It's meant to like puff up your cards played for Prism Storm and Torment. The thing that matters is discard a card +1 speed, -2 speed. So if I'm in the middle of my attack turn and I'm getting to Prism Storm and Torment, but I don't have all the characters in stage that I want, I can discard a character in hand to Crimson Sparrow and then build all that back in with Prism Storm and Torment. Even if it's like early in the turn and I want to do my big crack you in the head thing later. Like, I'm not really a cerebral player. I've made the comment to everybody and they make fun of me for being like the Unga Bunga aggro guy. Like Nomu was my big character for the longest time. But like a character where you have all these avenues of play that you can kind of like, it's not so open that it's like a million options that I can't comprehend, but it's focused enough that you can play the game enough and learn these scenarios to be like, okay, this is the optimal play, and like show off your experience. I think that's super cool.
Yeah. Like stick to a simple game plan of, all right, I'm blowing your head off with these big moves, but there's intricacies in that, whoever it be, if it's Nomu or Suzaku.
Right. Right. I think that's like the through line through most of the things I like to play in this game. I like big things, you know. I
Yeah.
like big moves, I like big damage, I like big stats, I like big stages. Anything that lets me do something and do a lot of it, like that really excites me. That's why I don't really like fuck with control characters, because they're very measured, like use the least amount of resources possible for incremental advantage over time. Like I can't do it. My brain doesn't work that way, you know.
Yeah. And so coming back to the spotlight event, like on the outset, it was 3 rounds, right?
Yeah.
What were the 3 characters you played against? We're kind of running a little bit low on time, so like.
Yeah. So 3 characters, just going quick. Kurama 1, Kurama 1, and a Yusuke 2. So Kurama, I really like these matchups because the Kuramas I was up against, they were like Kurama 1, he's a reversal focus character, another retro specific ability where you get to attack on your opponent's turn, basically. I was content to let them hit me when they reversaled into my attacks, just so that I could then be like, oh no, you have 2 cards in your card pool now. I get to hurt you even more. Like, it was a thing where it's like, this probably seems good for you, but it really isn't. And also Kurama's a very low health character, so like the aggro was really cool. And then Yusuke 2, another like really low. He might have been Yusuke 1. Sorry, I might be at. No, sorry, they're both low health characters. They're both 7-handers. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I believe so.
So, he did pull out the card that I was actually scared of going into the event, which is Spirit Shotgun. I want to say personally, I think it's the best card in the format. Spirit Shotgun, to keep it short, it gets +1/+1 for every card in your card pool that shares a symbol with your character. Obviously, shares all symbols with Yusuke, basically. So, insane. Second line of text, if it was blocked, it deals half damage rounded up. So, throw without being throw. And I'm a 20 healther. 2 of those can kill me pretty easily. I had managed to navigate the games decently well. I'd gotten into my final round against the Yusuke. He was like the first new character I'd seen because I went against 2 Kuramas. And funny enough, we get into the last game. It's getting like decently down to the wire where we're both like a little bit into deadlock because we weren't drawing the attacks out. So he specifically says to me, do you have any deadlock? Because I asked him if he had deadlock before I started building. I said, I don't have any on board. Prism Storm Torment does have deadlock stun 7. He says, well, what are the odds you're going to draw it? So he goes and builds out.
Quote now, from man.
I don't know if you're a clairvoyant. Yeah, deadlock stun 7 surprisingly wins games.
Who would have thought?
So, like, the adrenaline rush, though, from because, and again, I don't want to sound condescending to myself, but like the adrenaline rush of going from a guy who doesn't have anything to his name in this event, I'd obviously love to someday, and I want to work for it, to at least getting like a side event, even with only 12 people, getting first in that when the best I'd done previous to this was a challenger side event at Worlds, like, feels so damn good, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And like everyone starts somewhere with the game, right? You're not
absolutely.
Yeah, like Travis just won this event. That does not mean that he won every single event since the moment he started playing a game, right? Like,
yeah.
You got to start somewhere, and this is a super cool way to like start, get the hunger for that first place. You're like, oh, now I really want this.
Like, if you're out there and you may have other people who've done better than you, or even if you're like a guy from, nowhere that's had like a big player come from or anything, whatever you can find is like a goal that you can achieve, even in like a month, go for it, because this game really does reward you for the more experience you put in. We'll complain about broken metas and broken characters all we want, but like,
it's true.
Playing and finding new scenarios and navigating those scenarios, recognizing what you did right, what you did wrong, all that experience builds up. Like, it's a muscle memory thing, effectively. And even for as much as I don't consider myself one of the better players on the team, I still took what I learned from everybody else playing and was then able to pull it out and with a deck that I hadn't played prior to the event. I knew the cards, but like just osmosis and experience kind of pulled me through and got me something, you know?
Yeah. And like that is both in part because like you have so much experience with the game that like you can pick up some new strategies because again, that experience you gained. But also I want to say it's like a sort of time-honored tradition in universes to do well with a deck from like the night before or something like that.
Of course.
Yeah. And then kind of moving on, you also played in the Retro Side event, right?
Yeah. So Retro, I played Scorpion, my beloved.
Yeah.
I know we're running low of time, so I'll try and blitz through this as much as I can. Oh no, blitz ruining the game. So Scorpion's big thing is he is a desperation character. Desperation is you're below half health, you get special abilities, and your cards get discounted by what the desperation number is. So Scorpion, he hits desperation. He's giving every desperation attack +6 damage. Super big stats on everything. Super big kill you moves. Spend a lot of life, gain a lot of damage. So my first round, big thing of note was I was playing against a guy. This is his first like retro event. He'd borrowed a deck from a friend, I imagine. I play out Coffee Samba, which is one of my favorite cards. It's a Cowboy Bebop card. It's a 1-check, 5 mid 5, but it's you draw 2 cards, your opponent draws 2 cards, and the second enhance is it gets multiple X and stun X equal to cards in your opponent's hand. So I played it out, had us both draw 2 cards. This guy looks over the card. He looks down at his chivalrous competitor, and she like grins to me and is like, "All right, let's see where this goes." And she had us both draw a card. And I was like, "Damn, all right, stun 6."
Stun 5 wasn't enough. I need that 6 number. I need to hear it.
The fact that the guy was so cool about just like doing the funny thing of scaling up my stun was just like really cool. Yeah. So that game, I won those ones pretty handily. But the second round, it got called. I got paired up against Calvin, our buddy Wub on the team, and I believe it was Jesse Cervini was going around and looking for anybody who's playing Drill Man. Drill Man, for anybody who's wanting to know his thing in retro, his thing is the first card he plays each turn passes no check necessary past your very first turn of the game. So people are running him now with like Colossus Thermal Blast, Colossal Detonation to do like big board wipes every turn. I assume they want to show that off on stream. Nobody had him. Then they asked, is anybody playing a Mega Man character? And I had like the Jimmy Neutron Brain Blast moment because Corey was like, "Oh, Cutman's really cool for this event." And I was like, "Oh, Corey Nelson, he's playing Cutman!" And like I stood up, I yelled it, everybody's turned to me. And like, "Where is he?" And then I looked around because I didn't know. I was like, "I don't know." He was out vaping, so of course he misses his chance to go on stream. And they're like, "Okay, well, who wants to be on stream?" And Calvin was playing Devil Jin. I'm playing Scorpion. I was like, "Oh, we're both playing fighting game characters." And they're like, "Good enough." So I get my first stream match ever in my UVS career, which was really awesome. I text my mom as I'm going over, "Mom, I'm going to be on stream. You can look over."
There I am, Mom.
And I proceed to get my ass handed to me by Calvin on stream.
Hell yeah, dude. And I'm gonna try and find the VOD of that one just so we can like link it and people can catch that game. But so as we're kind of keep moving on because they can watch what happens in that. What happens in round 3 right after.
I dropped from the event after that because I was that was cool. Like I was already on stream. I was okay. I played a lot of retro before this event, and I also usually play retro like weekly with Corey and the buds anyway. So like. I don't need my retro fix that bad. It was like a good enough high that I was like, I'll nap in the room. I'll go like play some Paper Mario on my Switch or whatever. It was fine.
Nice.
And then after that, we went to the mall that housed round 1. They have a lot of really cool shops there. They had this Gachapon store. They had a Kamen Rider one. Kamen Rider is like my big thing. UVSGames. If you had Kamen Rider this game, I don't know how. I will love you forever. So I got a bunch of those. I also got gachas at the event itself. There was a Yu Yu Hakusho one that was really cool. Nice. I got like Toguro, Botan.
Oh, some good ones.
I committed a brief crime. I've got my lawyer on call, so it's okay to admit that. They had one in the hall that you were supposed to spend Brizewall tickets getting tokens for. I didn't realize it wasn't you couldn't do the tokens from Cryptid Gaming's Gachapon machine, so I just like walked over and did that, and nobody called me on it. So sorry about that. I stole Gacha technically, even though I paid for it.
He just admits to his crimes. How could you?
Yeah, round one, such a blast getting to do that with everybody. Trying to think about anything else about round one that wasn't mentioned previously, but I want to say, unfortunately, that I kind of blew that bit out from the first part.
No, that's fine. I mean, I think that's like a very core part of like the team experiences usually at these events, right? Like it happened at Nationals, it happened at Atlanta. And it's just always a ton of fun to just sing whatever like anime song, pop culture song, like theater song. Like it's just great. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. True 100% even.
Yes. Unleashed.
Yeah. Like, I guess, because I know you said we're running low on time here. If I had to give this like a big thesis statement at the end, I genuinely want to believe in my heart of hearts, the big reason that we're kind of gaining this momentum as a team and everything is because we're, above all else, it's not about like all of us grinding out games and like, you know, just trying to succeed and win and win and win and iterate and everything. Like, we really do have a communal aspect with everything. We've added a lot of people. We play other games with each other all the time. We have Discord calls like basically every night where we're just shooting the shit with each other. Like, being that comfortable and in some cases vulnerable with each other, where we can all kind of genuinely learn and grow with one another, I think goes far beyond if we literally got like a chip in our brain that just downloaded everything possible to know about this game. Like, it's knowing that even if we lose a round, we've got a group table full of dudes who are like right there for us and right in the trenches with us. And like, even if I don't win these things, even that I drop the event, being hunched over that phone with like 6 other people, with Danny, with everybody, watching like Corey and Travis's game, watching Justin on stream, and like feeling that pain when he lost the game and everything, like that means so much more than me winning any individual round, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the team camaraderie is just such like a driving force. It really amplifies the experience you get to have at these events where you're not alone, right? You have your friends with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very well said, Spencer. Yeah, I'm getting into the shout outs. If you have any shout outs you want to say before we sign off, and if not, I got the usual.
Yeah, I mean, God, shout out to Sean O'Brien very briefly. There was a bit where I screwed up in me and Calvin's game where I played 2 true identities in a row, and it's a unique foundation, so it would have gotten destroyed. I didn't realize it till after, but Sean on a commentary was like, "Oh, well, see, true identity is a unique foundation. Sometimes it gets stuck in your hand." I imagine Spencer wanted to get rid of it. He was like covering my ass for my misplay. That was just funny to me. Yeah. Obviously, shout out to everybody in the team. I hate to like say names because I'm gonna miss somebody there, but know that if you're on the team, I love you. I want to say also like big shout out to UVS guys like Guile, who are just there at every event, slumming it, going through all the shit of like having to deal with the community, the good and the bad, and all that. And I want to give a very big shout out to my man Ichiban Kasuga, the hero of Yokohama, the dragon of rock bottom. We are getting that Yakuza set. I know you're listening, UVS Games. I will buy a entire warehouse pallet of that set if you make it. So make it if you want to make money into infinity. Infinite wealth, if you will.
I don't know if my shoutouts are going to be as good as that, but you know, the usual, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel.
Smash that like button.
Subscribe, hit that subscribe button.
Smash that subscribe button.
Check out the team's official website.
Smash the team official. No, actually, we pay for that still. Don't do that. It's not insured.
Yeah, and then I'll link some of the Twitch VODs for some of the games that Spencer appeared on streaming. With that, this was Spencer Travis's recap video from Nationals 2024, and we are signing off. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.